My land wasn't just dirt, it was my soul, carved from decades of sweat and promises to my late wife. So when the HOA thought they could steal it for their cookie-cutter suburb, they didn't expect me to fight back with a river. I'm Amos Reed, a third-generation farmer, and this is the story of how I turned their greed into a swamp they'll never forget. It started with a letter, slipped under my door like a coward's confession. The Karen Heights Homeowners Association claimed my 50 acres were rezoned for their luxury development, 99 homes, each a soulless box priced at $500,000. They'd bribed someone at the county office, forged signatures, and started bulldozing before I could blink. By the time I saw the first concrete slab, my cornfields were gone, replaced by a grid of skeletal frames. I stood there, boots sinking into the churned earth, staring at the wreckage of my life. My wife, Ellie, used to say this land was our legacy. Now it was their profit. I tried the legal route. Hired a lawyer with what little I had left. But the HOA's pockets were deeper, their lawyers sharper. Every court date ended with a smirk from their lead developer, Victor Crane, a man who looked like he'd sell his own kids for a bonus. "Progress, Mr. Reed," he'd say, adjusting his silk tie. "You can't stop progress." My lawyer quit after they buried us in paperwork. I was alone, a 60-year-old widower against a machine. But I wasn't done. See, this land wasn't just flat fields. It sat at the base of an old dam, one the county forgot about decades ago. Ellie and I used to picnic by its spillway, watching the river below. I knew its levers, its weaknesses. The HOA didn't. That's when the idea hit me, dark and wild. If they wanted my land, they'd get it underwater. I spent weeks planning. By day, I played the broken old man, letting Crane's crew trample my fields. By night, I studied the dam's controls, rusted but functional. I wasn't alone for long. Maya, an environmentalist who'd been sniffing around the development, caught me at the dam one night. She was young, fierce, with a backpack full of data on how the HOA's project was killing local wetlands. "You're not the only one they screwed," she said, showing me permits they'd faked. We teamed up, her brains and my desperation. The HOA's groundbreaking ceremony was their peak arrogance. Crane stood on a stage, champagne in hand, toasting Karen Heights, a new era. Local news cameras rolled. I was in the crowd, unnoticed, my heart pounding. Maya was at the dam, waiting for my signal. The plan was simple but brutal: open the spillway, flood the site, and ruin their dream before it could stand. I texted her one word: now. Water roared like Judgment Day. It started as a trickle, then a surge, tearing through the site. The crowd scattered, screaming, as mud swallowed their polished shoes. Crane's face went white as the first house frame buckled. "What have you done?" he shrieked, grabbing my collar. I smiled for the first time in months. Took back what's mine. The flood was chaos. 99 homes, half-built, sank into the mire. Foundations cracked, beams toppled, and the HOA's shiny vision became a swamp. Maya's data hit the press the next day, proof of their illegal permits, their environmental crimes. The news called it a catastrophe of greed. Crane was fired, the HOA sued, and I thought I'd won. But victory doesn't come cheap. The counterattack hit hard. The HOA didn't just roll over, they came for blood. Crane, humiliated, hired private investigators to dig into my life. They found nothing criminal but painted me as a lunatic, a rogue farmer, who'd endangered lives. The county, embarrassed by their own corruption, charged me with property damage and reckless endangerment. Maya faced her own battles. Her environmental group was hit with lawsuits, her funding dried up. We'd struck a blow, but the machine was fighting back. In court, the HOA spun a story of me as a vengeful old man, destroying community progress out of spite. Crane sat in the front row, smirking again, his new job with another developer already secured. My defense was weak. Maya's evidence helped, but the judge was a friend of the HOA's backers. I faced jail time, and worse, they seized my land officially, claiming eminent domain to cover their tracks. Maya tried to rally support online, but the HOA's PR team drowned her out with sob stories about families who lost their dream homes. I stood at the dam one last time, the night before my sentencing. The water had receded, leaving a graveyard of ruined homes. My plan had worked too well. The land was worthless now, not just to the HOA but to me. Ellie's legacy was mud. Maya found me there, her face tired but defiant. "We exposed them," she said. "That's something." But it didn't feel like enough. The final blow came in court. I was sentenced to 5 years, probation if I cooperated. The HOA got a slap on the wrist, fines they'd pay with pocket change. Crane walked free, already planning his next project. Maya's group folded under legal pressure. As they led me out, I saw my land through a courthouse window, still a swamp, still mine in name but lost forever. But here's the twist that stings: the land's ruin became its salvation. The flood had restored the wetlands Maya fought for. Wildlife returned: herons, frogs, even rare plants nobody'd seen in decades. The county, shamed by the press, declared it a protected ecological zone. No developer could touch it now. My land, my soul, was safe not as a farm, but as something wilder, something Ellie would have loved. I'm writing this from a cell, my probation hearing in a week. Maya visits when she can, still fighting for what's right. The HOA's name is mud, their investors gone, their dreams drowned. I lost everything: me freedom, my home, but I'd do it again. They thought they could bury me. Instead, I buried their greed. And in that swamp, something beautiful grew. I spent my first year in lockup replaying that flood, the roar of water still echoing in my dreams. The cell was cold, the walls gray, but the letters from Maya kept me grounded. She'd visit monthly, her eyes bright with news of the wetlands thriving: dragonflies dancing over the reeds, otters slipping through the restored streams. "Your flood did this, Amos," she'd say, slipping me photos of herons nesting where cranes' houses once stood. It was bittersweet. My land was alive, but I wasn't there to see it. Ellie's memory felt closer, though, in those stories of wild things reclaiming what was theirs. Outside, the HOA's empire crumbled. The lawsuits piled up: homebuyers, investors, even the county turned on them. Crane tried to spin it, launching a new project upstate, but the stench of Karen Heights clung to him. Social media, fueled by Maya's relentless posts, tore him apart. Flood degree trended for weeks. I'd smile, reading her smuggled printouts, knowing we'd left a mark. But the cost gnawed at me. My farm was gone, my name slandered. The papers still called me a madman, not a man defending his home. Parole came after 18 months. Good behavior, they said, though I think the judge just wanted me gone. I stepped out into a world that felt foreign. Maya picked me up, her beat-up truck rattling as we drove to the wetlands. Standing there, I barely recognized my land. The mud had settled into lush marshes, alive with birdsong. A sign stood where the HOA's banner once flew: Ellie Reed Wildlife Preserve. Maya's doing. I choked up, tracing the letters. It wasn't my farm, but it was something Ellie would have fought for. Crane showed up one day, uninvited. He was thinner, his suit cheaper, his arrogance cracked. "You ruined me," he spat, standing at the preserve's edge. I looked at him, then at the water glinting under the sun. "No, Victor. You ruined yourself." He left without another word, a man drowned in his own choices. I felt no joy, just closure. The land had won, not me. Now, I live in a small trailer nearby, tending the preserve as a volunteer. Maya's leading a new environmental group, stronger than before. We're not heroes, just stubborn. The wetlands are my penance, my pride. Every frog's croak, every blade of grass, reminds me what we saved. But the ache for my farm, for Ellie, never fades.